Hello, this is a demo video for using AutoCAD to create working drawings, and it is orientated towards RIBA Plan of Work Stage 4, which is similar to building control and working drawings that you would do for a contractor. So this covers some of the general details that you would need to add to a floor plan, and this video will be complemented by other videos too. If you look at my other set of videos for creating the earlier stages of the plan, we do go through a stage development, adding in the external walls, internal walls, doors, windows, etc. right through, which should bring us to a set of plans that looks something like this here. So a few general pointers in terms of what you need on your building control style drawings. Obviously all your internal furniture, your structure, all the openings, appropriate hatching for all of these different things, and try and use some line weights to distinguish between the different materials. So things like the walls should have a heavier line weighting compared to the furniture or even the lines that indicate the stairs there. And then also you need to clearly mark the location of any beams or anything like that. So let's say, for instance, we want to add in a beam. I'll just use the walls layer for convenience at this point. We want to put a beam in here, maybe to carry some of the structure above, and it could well be larger than 100, but we'll put it in as 100 at this point in time. And that might influence then just the position of a door like this, so we can move the door over away from that point just for structural integrity. And then we can also edit the hatch for the wall just to make sure that all of that looks correct. And then obviously you need to add in hatched or dashed lines for that. So let's choose a dashed line and give it an appropriate scale. So we'll try 5. Maybe make it just slightly more than that. And then you would also need to add an annotation onto your drawing just to indicate where that beam is and what it's carrying. And on either side, bearing in mind that you would need some sort of a pad foundation. That might not be just 100% accurate in terms of what you would be wanting to do, but that illustrates an example of where you might want to put a beam in. Other things then, you should be adding in annotations. So things like your fire provision annotations should be down the side. We'll look at an example of some of these things in a moment. Also, you should be adding in things like smoke detector, heat detector, carbon monoxide detector, and things like movement joints. So for example, with a movement joint, you might want to put a movement joint in here somewhere. There are different ways of showing this type of thing, but you can show double set of lines and then just maybe add in a little text annotation. So let's take that annotation, just copy it and put it in that position. The size of the text is a little bit large there maybe, so in terms of the room names, they're much more important, so they should be a larger text size. And for something like a movement joint, maybe that size would be better. And let's just make the justification bottom left, and we can then change that to MJ, and you would just put that in the position then. Maybe even slightly smaller size of text would do it, depends what size of drawing you're printing out, what scale, etc. Okay. So other things you should be adding on are notes for U values and for insulation, type of insulation, maybe some annotations in terms of drainage, and all the aspects for the drainage will be covered on a separate video. and things like fire. It's also a good idea to have a key on your drawing. So that's a quick summary of things in AutoCAD, and in the next part of the video we'll look at some examples that have already been finished. This is a PDF of a finished drawing for a building. We can clearly see the floor plan here, and there are lots of specification notes to complement the drawing. There is also a key down here which indicates what some of the symbols are that are shown on the building. It is a level access dwelling, and we can clearly see there is a section indicated through this direction on the building. It's very important to clearly show on any plans where this section is cutting through the building. We can also see where the doors and the windows are. There's a sliding door here, and then other aspects we'll look at with the exception of the drainage, which is in a different video. So we have here the mains, electric intake and meter, and then how that gets into the internal part of the house for the meter board. We have a smoke detector in the hallway. We have annotations on the walls in some locations in relation to where a DPC is, for example there. There is a smoke detector in the lounge, and then there's a heat detector in the kitchen. No smoke detector there because it's more likely to go off in the kitchen if somebody just simply burns the toast or something like that. And then we also have some of the walls are in this dwelling are glass block panels. This wall here I think is a stud wall, so you just need to clearly indicate what those different things are. Also on the plan there is this hatch or dashed area in front of the toilet, so you need to clearly indicate in that case that you have a clear area of 900 by 750 in front of the toilet for the Northern Ireland building regulations. Other things then just to note, we have a cooker hood extractor fan here. It's just a case of showing where that extractor fan is and how that exhaust air is taken outside of the building. We have an extractor fan also on the utility, and you would expect to see those also shown on the elevations. And then we have also clearly indicated in this case where the boiler is, so you need to think about where that is going to be located on your building. There is a set of lines here and an annotation to clearly indicate what type of beam, what specification it is that's going in there. So that's a second example just to show you of how you might develop things. This is another completed set of drawings then, and we can see that this is quite a restricted site. It's very busy, there's a lot going on, and there's elements outside the house here. There's an existing dwelling at this point, and there's a lot of information on the drawing. There's text, there's drainage, and there's other different symbols. We can also clearly see that there are a number of different sections through the building, so it is important that these are all clearly indicated and labelled in an appropriate manner. You want to be 100% sure what you're looking at whenever you're looking at a different section, which element of the building those are going through. So let's just zoom in down to the bottom of the drawing, and we can see the little key down here, smoke detector, heat detector, and in this case there's a hardwired alarmed carbon monoxide detector as well. We can see that the walls are a little bit more clearly hatched here with this example, and there are also structural elements, so you can see these down the length of the building here, and these lines indicate then that the structural element must be above that at a point as well. And there are smoke detectors at appropriate points around the building, and then there is a garage attached to this particular dwelling, and there is this undercroft with a terrace above, so you can clearly see there's a number of elements within this building that make it a little bit more complicated. Anything like a canopy or a porch that is on the outside of the building should be clearly indicated in this sort of manner, and again, you want to just make sure that all of your notes and dimensions and annotations are clearly associated to what you're trying to achieve with the building. So that's a couple of examples just to help you overall with the different elements. And again, I would say make sure that you check everything and that it all makes sense before you finish off your drawing.